Grab your popcorn, find your seats, and get ready, because this episode of the Cinema Spotlight is about to begin. Subscribe if you're new, and please, enjoy the show. Hello everybody, and welcome to the Cinema Spotlight. This is the show where we dissect all things movies, TV, and everything in between. I am your host and self-proclaimed media expert, James Sena. We've been having some fun with our Oscar watch segments recently, but today we return back to our roots and resume our quest to correctly identify which movies could and genuinely may take home those Academy Awards, those pesky awards. There will be a poll on Spotify asking what movies you think could win an Oscar, and I will be pulling from there for future episodes. For today's episode, we're starting off with said Oscar watch, followed by a segment of the Film Index, and after a couple episode break, we're going to be bringing back an old favorite, the Draft Room. Here's an official spoiler warning for any and all content discussed here today, and if you wish to skip around to avoid spoilers, you can find timestamps in the description, both on YouTube and Spotify, for your convenience. That said, let's shine a spotlight on Wes Anderson's Asteroid City.
Oscar watch. Oscar watch.
So when I think of big name directors, there are a few that pop up. You think of Spielberg, you think of Christopher Nolan, you think of Alfred Hitchcock, there are so many, and one of those big names is Wes Anderson. Now, I actually don't have a lot of experience with Wes Anderson, so going to see Asteroid City, for me, was actually a very exciting experience because I had never seen one of Wes Anderson's movies in a theater, and I don't even have a lot of experience with his movies, just straight up, period. So when I watched that movie, I actually had a lot of questions. And to help answer some of those questions, I had to bring on one of my best friends, one of my longtime, roomies. He's my partner in crime, you know what I'm saying? So give a nice, warm, big welcome to my good friend, Derrick Butler. Derrick, thank you so much for coming on the show today. I'm excited to have you on.
Oh my god, I'm so excited. I feel so warm. This welcome was so nice. Nah, I'm gonna be super critical.
You're gonna go. Well, that's what we need. Just for the people at home, Derrick and I had a conversation immediately after I saw the movie, and we shared our thoughts, and we are in agreement with a few things, but we're also kind of on opposite sides. But Derrick, would you like to help me kind of give some credit on who worked on this movie a little bit?
I mean, credit-wise, I'm personally, obviously I'm going to be commenting on the way it looked. I thought it was done really well. It's very Wes Anderson, very symmetrical.
Yeah. Stuff
like that. I thought I wasn't a huge, I'll try to be positive, but I wasn't a huge fan of the black and white scenes, but the actual, I guess the screenplay look of the colored part of the movie I thought was shot beautifully. I thought it was done really well. I wasn't really bored of the way it was looking and stuff like that. So it was very typical Wes Anderson.
Yeah, this movie was very, very, the way that I think we both described it was visually it looks very nice, and it's very traditional Wes Anderson, who is the director of the movie. One thing that this really helps out this movie is the cast. It's got a very, very big cast, very notable cast. Mm-hmm. So it just we'll go back and forth just rattling off some of these actors. We got Jason Schwartzman as, is it Augie? I think Augie Steenbeck.
Augie, yep. It was a smaller character, but we have Maya Hawke playing June.
Right, we got
the teacher.
Who else? Scarlett Johansson as Midge Campbell.
We have Sophia Lillis as Shelley. She was a pretty smaller character. She was one of the Brainiacs. Am I right?
I believe so. And
yeah.
I mean, some of the other names, just to rattle off some, just to show you some of the actors on this cast. I mean, there was Steve Carell, Tom Hanks, there was Adrian Brody, there was probably one of my favorite castings in the last decade was Jeff Goldblum as an alien, which was really fun.
A couple ones that I actually wasn't expecting: Edward Norton and Bryan Cranston.
Oh, Bryan Cranston, man, he's so good. He fit perfectly right into the tone of this movie.
But the most pointless casting, I mean, like, I'm gonna start getting to my personal negative points. I mean, if you want to give your compliments and your flowers, Margot Robbie, did not like Margot. It was pretty much pointless. Like, I felt like having her character, her one scene, or like towards the end of the film, thought that like was I thought they should have cut that scene entirely and probably had something else, but that's just me.
So I'm curious, and again, as I always say in every episode, I'm excited to see the audience and like what everyone's thoughts were on this movie, because I think overall it is such a melting pot of ideas, of like so many people liked specific things, didn't like other things, just a lot of mixed opinions, even on Letterboxd. Every time I watch a movie now, I'm always on Letterboxd. I leave a little review on there and I see what other people are saying. It's completely mixed. Some people really didn't like it, some people do like it. For me, I'll fight you on that. I think that, I don't know if it was a pointless casting. I think that last scene really just gave a lot of insight into Schwartzman's character, and where I think my personal, I guess if you want to call it like a negative opinion of the movie, was definitely the fact that the plot itself was pretty weak. But and I'll throw it back to you in just a second, Derek, but the way that I've described this movie so far, and it's the best description that I've seen online, it's very reminiscent of the play Middletown, which basically the whole gist of it is it's just this town that is existing, and you're seeing the relationships between characters, and there's no real plot to the story. The whole story, the whole play of Middletown happens, and really nothing happens, but it's a very philosophical, existential type of movie, and I think that is sort of the vibe that the movie was going for. And I will say, in some areas it definitely landed for me, in other areas it definitely fell flat. So it's not perfect in that, but I think at the very least for Augie Steenbeck, that last scene talking with the actress Margot Robbie, that for me did add to that.
I mean, personally, real quick, I thought that the scene right before that with Adrian Brody's character, I honestly couldn't tell you what the character's name was, but I thought that was a little bit more like clearing of what the heck was going on, because at that point he pretty much stated, he's like, I have no idea what's going on here. However, I could have gone without it, but if a lot of people did like that, that's okay. I will absolutely say, anybody who's saying that they like it online, you can have that opinion, but I refuse to hear anybody say that they love it. This is not the kind of movie that I think you can love. This was, I don't know. This was not for me. I was excited to watch a Wes Anderson film because I really like how he shoots it. I really liked, even his animations scream Wes Anderson. So I was excited for that, but there not being a plot kind of ruined it for me.
I'm gonna pivot the topic here just a smidge, because I'm curious on what your thoughts on this are.
Mm-hmm.
They marketed this movie as a science fiction movie. Did this feel science fiction to you? Because I think one of the other gripes that I realized I have with this movie is that it felt like a little bit of false advertising. So do you think that the whole bout with the alien was worthwhile enough to call it science fiction?
I guess so. I feel like it's partly hard to label Wes Anderson's films into a genre to begin with, but no, I think you can call the science fiction enough, because I guess they talk about like the little brainiac dudes and their inventions and stuff like that a little bit, but I understand why you wouldn't want to call it science fiction, but I'm kind of okay with it. That's not really my gripe with it.
Mm-hmm.
But
do you think that there was a standout performance acting wise? Because there were a couple that did stand out to me, but I'm curious if there's any, because one thing you had mentioned off camera was you were like, you know what, the actors they did their thing, and they brought it from like maybe going from a bad movie, in your opinion, to something that was at least watchable, and it was the cast and their performances. Was there any standouts for you?
I will give a few honorable mentions. I do think that and I think I'll
Okay.
surprise you with this one. I do think, of course, Tom Hanks, great. I think that Scarlett Johansson, fantastic. Jason Schwartzman, fantastic. But I will give my flowers to the child actors.
Yeah.
I think they were the best part. When it comes to acting wise, I was completely surprised by that. The three little girls, like even the students, oh my god. I was impressed with the little kid that was like singing and stuff.
That's good.
I thought that's like I went to see the movie with my girlfriend, and she instantly left him. She didn't like it more than I did.
Wow.
But she was upset that the child actors, specifically the three little girls, did not see as much screen time.
I mean, I think for me, I don't really have a gripe with that, only because they're not really characters that are meant to be super fleshed out. Like, that was pretty... that, for me, was pretty, like... they were more of a tool for Augie's character and being able to move on from like his
fair.
wife and everything.
That's just that was just like a little nitpicky thing. That's like honestly almost completely unnotable even to mention.
But you're totally right. I think that the child actors in this movie, and there's a bunch to credit, but if you definitely when you check out the movie, definitely keep an eye on these, like, the wonderful job that they do. One scene that I want to pinpoint, I told you about this scene when we were talking. This is the scene where he was like why do I have to dare you? That two probably in a stacked cast, two probably comparatively lesser known actors had such a powerful moment where it's like I don't really know. And it's like that scene for me was one of the ones that I was like, yeah, this is a really pivotal scene for at least these characters in this movie, because there's so many different side plots. And I'll toss it back to you. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I thought that like I guess you can just refer to them as the Brainiacs. While I do think that most of them are all adults, I think they are all like around 20 something years old. I do know that what's her name? Sophia Lillis. She is an adult playing a child. But I think that their scenes were my favorites, and I thought that the do you dare me kid? I don't
remember his name. There are too many characters in the movie, but that we knew what you were talking about.
I thought that I really enjoyed the fact that was one of the very few characters that had like some psychological problem, or like this whole movie is about metaphors and just, I guess, help me out here. What word am I looking for?
Metaphors and just, I mean, for me it was very, there was a lot of existentialism. I don't know if that's the word you're going for, but
that's what I was like.
Okay.
I mean, that's exactly what I mean. That was my favorite, I guess, plot of the movie that, like, even though it didn't have any plot, that they finally like wrapped back to it, and I got some sort of like completion to something. Him being like flat out saying why he has to dare, and then I felt bad for him, and then he said he wanted to climb a cactus. I thought that was actually really funny. But
that was a funny scene. I almost, actually, really quick, we've been saying metaphor. I just thought about it. Is it more allegorical? Like, is it more like referencing something else? Like, do you think it's more of an allegory than a metaphor?
Yeah, probably.
I don't know if that matters at all, but for us to be like factual with what we're saying here, even though it's all opinion, obviously, but for us to try to be like as accurate.
Yeah, no, you could say that. I think the audience overall knows what we mean, but no, but to just like cap it off, I think that was one of my, I guess, the highlights to the film for me was the do you dare me kid. Again, the child actors, I enjoyed their characters a lot.
I did too. And
quick.
Yeah, what's up?
Oh yeah, speaking of characters that did disappoint me, I wanted more Steve Carell. Just saying, like his character seemed like right at the beginning was gonna do a little bit more, Would we have like 3 or 4 speaking lines of his?
I think it's just because he's so good, and I think that's why we wanted more of him, is just because he's so good. I think his character, realistically enough, contributed to the plot probably the right amount, but I agree. I think he's so, like, Steve Carell has proved that, yes, he can be funny, but he can also be the constant in any scene and completely just support whoever his scene partner is. And I think it really just goes to prove that.
It just felt like every scene he just popped up in the background or just said like 1 or 2 words asking what kind of juice they want, but and I guess we didn't get I guess I didn't get what I wanted, but it's okay.
I thought it was so funny how the juices that he was offering, like, why was tomato juice one of the, like, he listed like 3 what was it, apple juice, orange juice,
orange juice,
and tomato juice. It was just the 3, right?
And one other one.
What was it? Okay.
Maybe is that like a West Coast thing?
No, I think intentionally it was just a weird pick. I think that's what it was. But
okay.
Maybe I'm wrong. But before we forget, what's your official rating out of 10 of this movie? And then we can talk about maybe some categories of the Oscars that we think that this movie could possibly get nominated for.
I tend to dismiss the ratings more times than not from Rotten Tomatoes, but I think they were pretty dead on. If I recall, they gave it a 61%.
So you would go for more of like a 6.1? Is that where you're leaning?
Yeah, I'll give it like a 6.1 if we're going IMDb type rating. And the audience score, I'm pretty sure, was like a 54, but I'll give it a 6. I'll just give it a flat 6. I thought that the cast and the visuals were enough to give it. I wasn't gonna storm out of the theater like my girlfriend was thinking about, but I wouldn't give it anything higher than that.
For me, I am probably closer to a 7, and that's mainly, if it wasn't for the fact that I have such a close relationship as a result of college with the play Middletown, which feels very similar to this. If it wasn't for that, I might be even lower, but that alone is carrying it up to about a 7, maybe 7.2 for me. And just before we run out of time, because we gotta talk about some, I think that there are a couple categories that this could actually be nominated for the Oscars. So, you know, for those of you keeping track and seeing like, okay, is James gonna nail any predictions this year like he did last year? Which I got a couple, but it wasn't that difficult because everything everywhere.
I think this year's gonna be a little bit trickier. I think this year will be trickier.
It definitely will. But one thing I will say is, if there was like a best supporting actor from this movie that I think could potentially get a nomination, this one may come out of left field, but it's just because I think he nailed every scene that he was in. I think Adrian Brody could get a nomination. What are your thoughts?
I knew you were gonna say that. That was gonna be my guess. I thought you were gonna let me guess who you're thinking.
Oh, sorry. I probably should have done that, right?
No, that's fine. Yeah, I think Adrian Brody works for that. I don't think there are any other notable characters that I guess like nailed it or have like
Tom
a supporting.
Hanks was okay, maybe. What do you think?
Yeah, but his character wasn't, I guess, influential.
Well, yeah, but neither was Jamie Lee Curtis last year, and she still won. So it's like, I don't know. I feel like as long as
dude, don't say that woman's name. I hate Jamie Lee Curtis so much.
You hate her character, Derrick. You hate her character.
No, I hate the woman. This specifically.
No, Jamie Lee. If you want to come on the show, you're more than welcome. You're more than welcome. Do you think that Wes Anderson?
Yes. No. I will say Adrian Brody. Yeah, I think he could be up there, or actually Bryan Cranston.
Oh, you know what? You're right. I think he genuinely could. I don't know if he's won an Oscar yet, so it's possible that the Academy could give him that, and I think he nailed it.
I swear to God, if they give Bryan Cranston an Oscar for this as his first one, I will be livid.
I mean, he has other performances, but I mean, we don't have time to go through all of Bryan Cranston's filmography on this. But are there any other categories do you think that this movie could excel at the Oscars here?
Maybe visually.
Yep.
Cinematography, maybe, because nothing right now like is really popping out at me for this year. But
I agree.
That's kind of a stretch. Wes Anderson has such a niche. It's very hit or miss. I think Wes Anderson's films are so niche that like they either aren't even going to come close or they're going to be nominated. Has he have any of his nominated for cinematography?
I'm not totally sure, but I mean, I have cinematography as an option or as a possibility for on my little list here, just because I think the competition this year really isn't that crazy, and I think, yes, it's niche, but I think it really, if it wasn't for something like that, like, again, where are these movies, like, what carries this movie? I think it's the visuals, and so I think that goes
Can it get nominated? Yes.
Yeah.
Will it win? Absolutely not.
I don't see a win for it. I think that best production design, maybe. I have that listed down as a...
You know what? That's actually a shout. I didn't even think about that one. And I even, like, throughout the movie, I was watching it, and I was, like, just thinking about, like, just the set itself.
Yeah.
Like, the location. I thought that was done really well. And not for, like, the black and white, like, theater scenes, but, like, in the middle of the desert. I thought it was minimal, but, like, set design... fantastic.
It worked for exactly what was trying to, like, it looked like they were trying to put on a play as a movie, and it did work. You know what it almost reminded me of, weirdly enough?
Holes.
Citizen Kane. Oh, no, yeah, Holes. No, I was thinking Citizen Kane, weirdly enough, with, like...
You know what? That's why I don't like this fucking film.
It's too reminiscent of Citizen Kane.
If anybody knows me... I am the biggest hater of Citizen Kane. I don't care if you film bros come out here and just like start sending me hate mail or like a dead body over that. But you know what? Do you like Citizen Kane? Be truthful.
I fell asleep during it, so does that answer your question? We had to watch it as a film screening in college, and
Wait, did we watch it together?
I don't think so, but all I remember is I woke up and at some point they were like, Rosebud, and I was like, huh? Who is that? I was like, I didn't really know what they were talking about.
I watched it with Gabe. Me and Gabe went to see it.
Oh.
And I think both of us fell asleep.
That I believe it. I feel like I need to revisit it one more time just to try to appreciate it. But speaking of Citizen Kane and Orson Welles is a very known, actually, auteur director. And we are, in the next segment, going to talk more about what that means for that director, for Wes Anderson films, and a bunch of other directors. So if you're interested in that, stick around. Which movies do you want mentioned on the Oscar Watch? Let us know on Instagram at @the_cinema_spotlight. And drop a follow while you're there to get updates, behind the scenes details, and to participate in polls following each episode. Now, let's get back to the show. Welcome back to the next segment in this episode of the Cinema Spotlight, and right now we're about to head into a segment that is relatively new called the Film Index, where we take a glossary term having to do with all film, and we just kind of do a little bit of a deep dive. I've done this loosely before, and I kind of just threw it in certain Oscar watches, but I feel like the concept of auteur, which is what we're going to be discussing today. Oh, jeez. In the background, I don't know if the mic is picking that up, but we are recording a little behind the scenes. We're recording during a thunderstorm, but the show must go on. So
that's kind of funny. Is you're in Massachusetts? Not to dox you, but like it's like full sunny skies, and I'm in Florida. You'd think I'd be the one with the rain.
I mean, I'm a little jealous, but it's, you know what? It is what it is. Massachusetts, New England weather in general is just unpredictable. But that being said, you know what is predictable? The auteur directing style of certain directors, okay? I mean, Wes Anderson is going to be our first example here. We talked about his cinematography and the visuals of Asteroid City. Derrick, do you want to go into a little bit of what we mean by auteur? Do you mind explaining just a glossary definition?
Well, I mean, I don't have like the proper like definition, but in simple terms, it's a trademark, something that like is quite common in a director's films, something that it's kind of like a crutch, something that they're good at, and something that we as viewers constantly see in their films. My personal favorite that you would see from a famous director is Edgar Wright, the Cornetto trilogy.
Yes.
Fast cuts, fast editing. That's not quite specific to the way he shoots it, but the way he edits it. But every director edits.
Right, and every director, I think the reason why they do that, or at least a lot of the more notable directors have certain, I don't know if I'd call it a crutch necessarily, but definitely trademark 100%. Just things that they are very comfortable doing, and it's almost like you watch their movie, and it's almost like they have their signature on the cover of the movie, where it's like, you know that this is, when you watch a Quentin Tarantino movie, for example, you really get, he has a certain visual style that he goes with, and he has certain things. Feet, just looking at feet is one that is more of it. I don't know. I mean, I'm tempted to be like, it okay? All right. Well, Derrick, you're really putting Quentin on blast right now, but with this feet. But yeah, I mean, he's not wrong though. You're not wrong.
That is the most tame way anybody has ever said that. So
that's
you
fair.
know what? I'm being polite.
That's fair. But there's other things about Tarantino films. Like in a lot of his films, I've noticed that the setting is typically much more, what would be the opposite of the word expand? I guess just smaller. So if you're talking like The Hateful Eight, it all basically takes place in one room. Reservoir Dogs takes place mostly in one room. And a lot of minimalistic type of setting in his movies that usually end in bloodshed, like an absurd amount of bloodshed. And that's a Quentin Tarantino trademark. And Derrick, I mean, among the obvious reasons, what do you think are going through directors' head when they're making a film? Do you think that they're consciously being like, okay, well, I gotta put that in there? Or do you think it's just something that they default to?
I don't think it's a default. I think it's something that they're good at. Like me personally, as a director of photography, I tend to stray to, or it might not even be a natural or like an instant, like on purpose. It's almost like natural. Like I tend to like certain styles of shooting,
right?
And that's what I'm good at, and that's what I like to do. So I mean, you got to do what you enjoy. You're not going to see me doing like some of these whip pan, like weird transition YouTuber crap. I'm a documentary director of photography. You're not going to see me doing that. So I'm going to probably stick to my type of shooting. And that probably goes the same way for all of these famous directors that you'll see certain things pop up. Like, you know, Tarantino probably has a feet thing, but I'll give him credit. Like the shots are good shots. They do add a little bit to his films.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think when I'm thinking about and you bring up a really good point of like, from the perspective of the creator itself, I'll even get into my own head here. When I'm making something, when I'm making certain films, there are certain shots and certain things that I do when I'm making a film that for me, it's just because it looks really cool. And I tend to use that because it's what I'm comfortable with. And also I think it just adds, I mean, it adds to it. I would consider myself an actor director. So if I were to go on and direct certain films, I would always try to probably put myself as a cameo. So like that for me is a trademark, but also I think whenever I've made films in the past, I really like those quick cuts, and we call it in improv, we call it Spokane, where there's a scene going on and then we cut to something else happening and then we cut right back. And it's always, it's like that Family Guy style of, you know, there's a main story, but then they'll reference like, oh, like you don't want what happened down in Boston to happen again, and then it's like you cut to like what happened in Boston and then you cut back. That for me is like that is my cup of tea, which is why a film like Reservoir Dogs actually resonated so well with me, because that's my cup of tea. Like that is what I creatively like to do with my work. But Derrick, I want to throw it back to you. Do you have any take on, like, do you think that when a director is an auteur, when they have a certain trademark, do you think that elevates them as a creator, or do you think that it's, you know, it's hit or miss? Like, do you think it really makes a difference?
No, absolutely. It does make a difference. That's why we're watching them. We're watching them because they're doing their thing. Like, we know, for example, who's another one? Let me give, I guess, Christopher Nolan a shout. I mean, a lot of the stuff that he does is very Christopher Nolan. Like, he's always trying to create, like, this big, hard to follow, mind-blowing plot, I guess. Could we say that that's probably his?
I would say weird. So I would say this about, because you mentioned Michael Bay when we were just like talking about auteur off mic.
I'll give him I'll use him as an example. Michael Bay. You're watching him because it's a big clusterfuck explosion action bro dude film. That's why people are watching it, and that's why it makes money. So, like, if you saw Michael Bay not do that, you're probably not going to really watch that movie, or you might not even know it's a Michael Bay movie.
Right.
So it's like asking a singer to do, it's like asking a pop singer to do country music. That's not what they're good at, and you're probably not going to listen to that music.
Exactly. And, like, I think just to sort of wrap up this segment a little bit, because, I mean, what I love talking about when it comes to auteur is how it makes certain directors really stand out, and it not only that, but it allows them to be different than other directors, and not in like a I'm different because that makes me cool kind of way. It doesn't do that necessarily, but it makes the directors really stand out as an artist and less as just, you know, I'm here to pick up a check. Like, there are some directors that I could name where it's like you really can't tell. One director I'll shout out now, Rian Johnson, I think recently has found much more of a voice with how he makes films, and that's, I think, coming as a result of the Knives Out movies that he's been doing, which have basically, I mean, the two that he released were both good. So he's now found his rhythm of something that he can do really well, and it's not just a murder mystery thing, but it's the way that he creates his stories. I think recently has really shown what he can do as a director, and I think that when you kind of do with what you're specializing in, or kind of you find what you're good at and you find what is comfortable and most fun for you, I think if you do that, then it allows you to really thrive, because it's like you're putting yourself in the zone sort of thing. Like if you try to ask Quentin Tarantino to make a film that's completely unlike anything he's done, I
think he could do it.
I mean, he could do it. He could do it, but I think it would.
But it's not going to be Tarantino. I mean,
yeah,
it's probably not even going to be something he might even enjoy doing. And to kind of like piggyback off of that and then cap my thoughts is like you're never going to ask like famous Renaissance painters or you're not going to call them a sellout because they didn't do a ton of different styles. They stuck to what they were good at and what they enjoyed.
Absolutely. And that's like, I mean, if you even want to look at something like you know, a Picasso painting just from looking at it, what's the difference? These directors, they make a movie a certain way, and you know it's theirs, you know it's their art.
And in a way, that's why they're giant directors, is because they didn't stray from what they were good at and what they enjoyed.
Absolutely. And speaking of directors, I'm going to use this as a segue into our last segment, so stay tuned, because when we come back, we are going to do another fun draft, and we're going to be drafting some directors, but again, that'll be when we come back, so don't go away, because we're going to return very shortly. If you are enjoying the show so far, please remember to check out the episode playlist on Spotify. Also, leave a rating and subscribe so that you don't miss future episodes. Wouldn't that be a shame? Break time's over. Time for the final part of the show. And welcome back. We are here, the final segment of the episode. And welcome to another installation of the draft room. And today we're going to be drafting directors. And here's how it's going to work. So we're going to start with Derrick. We're going to go back and forth, and we're going to be drafting directors. And when we draft a specific director, you basically get access to their whole filmography, basically. So at the end of the episode, it's going to be up to you, the audience, to decide, okay, who has the better, I guess, collection of movies based on the directors that...
Who's got the best team?
Yeah, the best team of directors and what they have. I'm using the word filmography, but I know that there's another word that would be better fitting here. But anyways, that being said, are you ready to battle here, Derrick? Are you ready to draft?
I am ready to get my ass beat, but yeah.
Fair enough. I mean, hey, it do be what it is. Anyways, it's you are up on the clock first, my friend. What is the first director off the board in this draft?
You know what? I have one that I really want to draft, but I don't think you'll pick it as your first pick. So I'm gonna go safe. I'm gonna go with the film bro pick, just so they don't hate me. I'm gonna go with Tarantino.
You're gonna go Tarantino. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a honestly safe pick. He's got a really good collection of movies. For me, I'm going what I also feel like is a pretty safe pick because I think a lot of his movies are just super universally enjoyed, and that is Christopher Nolan. I'm gonna take Christopher Nolan.
Oh, that's a good pick. I wasn't expecting that, but in that case, I had an idea of. I thought you were gonna pick. I'm not gonna tell you, but I thought you were gonna go a different route.
Okay.
I'm not gonna take that pick because I feel like it's a little too similar, same vibes as Tarantino. So I'm actually gonna go. I'm gonna go with David Fincher.
God damn it! You're doing what Jack did. You're taking. Okay, fair enough.
No, I had to. I mean, like, what's in the bag, man? Like,
it's what's in the box. It's what's in the box, man.
Oh, it's the box. Oh my god.
God damn it! You're choosing Finch. You didn't even know the quote. Oh man.
No, I know the quote. Edit that out. I know.
No, I'm leaving it in. I'm leaving it in for all to shame you.
I'll admit, I just recently watched Fight Club for the first time. I thought it was fantastic. I thought it was solid.
I do love me some Fight Club. We are Robert Paulson. Oh man, I didn't know you were gonna take Fincher right off the bat. I think there are other bigger directors where it's like that's the only reason why I went Nolan, because I was like, if I don't go Nolan here, I thought maybe you would take him the second pick. So, anyways, I gotta hold my ground here because
I gave you a good one. I left you a good one.
Favorite of mine.
I mean, you're winning because I'll be honest, I'm embarrassed with the quote, but you just come on.
It's fine. You know what? I'm gonna note it down in the poll. I'm gonna be like, Derrick misquoted, misquoted 7. Anyways, who's my second pick? We gotta just get on with this. I'm taking Martin Scorsese.
Okay, I was gonna say that was your layup. That was your easy pick. Anything else would have been wrong.
I thought you were taking Scorsese, to be honest. That's what I thought you were doing.
That was the thing is I just kind of Tarantino and Scorsese, they're completely different genres, but they give me the same kind of vibes in terms of like what they provide for my team. And
that's okay. You know what? That's fair. That is pretty well rounded, I would say.
Okay. Well, why Scorsese?
Why Scorsese?
Yeah.
Because I love specifically his thrillers, and for me, Shutter Island is the type of movie that I could watch over and over and over again and figure out new details that were hidden along the way. For everyone who's seen Shutter Island, you know what I'm talking about. Every watch you learn and you see different things. I'm pretty sure. Oh, I was gonna say Memento, but that's also Nolan, Christopher Nolan. But who is also on my team? Just saying. I already have a good little collection coming up. But quote it. Quote what? Quote what?
Shutter Island.
Shutter Island. What's
There it is, ladies and gentlemen.
Where are the kids? No, he says it. What? Where are the kids? Where are the kids? And he says you are. Oh, what's the fucking name? It's not Larry. What's the guy's name? The arsonist.
You know what, ladies and gentlemen? You don't even know.
Don't ladies and gentlemen me. Okay, give us your third pick. You
no.
Beautiful badger.
My third pick is gonna be way out of the blue. Can I like include an animation director? Like he's got a mix of both, but like,
I mean, if he's got both, yeah, go for it.
I'm gonna go with Tim Burton.
That is a completely valid pick. I think that you're gonna get a lot of like Tim Burton's got some stands, you know. They got some people, so
I just think
that's a good pick.
Overall, he just provides a different vibe for my team, and I could have kept going. The blockbuster like only has 10 movies, but they're 10 of the most highly rated movies in the world ever. But I didn't want that. I wanted to go out of the box.
That's honestly fair. And for me, I was gonna just follow suit of past drafts of just going with just iconic directors. But for me, I gotta stick to like who are my favorites, right? So for my third pick, I'm gonna go for one that you might not have expected me to take, and that's Damien Chazelle.
I was not. Why is he one of your favorites?
Damien Chazelle recently directed Babylon, which for me was a very, very, very underrated movie that I thought should have won an Oscar or two. And shout out to my buddy Tyler, who is right with me on that. And I also think that Damien Chazelle, having been the one to direct Whiplash, if anyone's seen Whiplash, it is a fantastic movie. One of the best movies that I've it's in my personal top 5. So for me, it's a passion pick. I gotta go Damien Chazelle.
Okay. At number 4. See, this is where I'm getting a little scared. I'm kind of my director knowledge is failing me, but I'm gonna go with an easy pick. Probably not the best pick, but I'm gonna stick with current news. I'm gonna go with the flow, let the tides take me. I'm gonna go with James Cameron.
Oh, okay. When you were saying that, that's not who I thought you were gonna take. But
Submarine.
James Cameron is pretty. Okay. Well, right. Wait.
I'm not even
don't
say
say
that. About it.
You're gonna get this show canceled.
The algorithm. We need the algorithm.
You know what? True. Just say it's okay. We're just referencing a Beatles song. That's fine. We're fine. That's all we're doing.
No, we're not. Anyways, what's your fourth pick?
My fourth pick, God, there's so many directions I could go here, and there's one that's popping up for me that I'm like, yeah, I think I might have to go that direction. Screw it, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna take Jordan Peele.
That was gonna be my dark horse. You know what?
Yeah,
you stole that one
Jordan
from me.
Peele. Yeah, I mean, you can take Fincher. I'll take Jordan Peele. Jordan Peele is revolutionizing the horror genre as we speak. So I'll take that all day long. But you got your final pick coming up. So you're scanning the draft pool. What do we got left for you? And who you're taking Orson Welles?
No, that man can. I'm not even gonna let that name come out of my mouth. I'll go with an easy one, just cap it off. I need a little bit more like fan favoritism, some easy softballs, nothing like too mind. Like, I don't have anybody that's not trying to like impress me. I just need a guy who's gonna make a film that's gonna make a lot of money. I'm gonna go with Spielberg.
That's the one I thought you were gonna take instead of is it Patterson? James Patterson?
Cameron?
James Cameron. Oh my God,
Cameron?
not James Patterson. I'm thinking
James
no.
Patterson?
I'm thinking James Patterson's an author. That's why there's a book on my counter written by James Patterson. That's my defense. No. don't know if that's a lie, but anyway.
Nah, this podcast, the films are better than the books.
I'm a self-proclaimed media expert, okay? No one said it was like a world renowned expert, okay? I proclaim myself that. So
I'm pretty sure James Cameron falls within that media.
I'm pretty sure the box would disagree with you, but you know.
You know what? That's fair. I mean, I at least didn't get the movie wrong. All right, what's your fifth pick?
You know what?
What's
for
your
my
fifth
fifth pick? For my fifth pick and the final pick of the draft here, I could go two ways here because I'm looking at two names right now, and I'm a little torn because one is a personal pick, but two is more of like, if we're talking about their collection of films. For one of them, actually, you're not picking again, so I'll just talk about the one that I'm not gonna pick. I'm not picking this person because there's only one movie that I can think of that they've directed, and that is Gus Van Sant. Gus Van Sant directed my favorite movie that probably will not be dethroned, and that is Good Will Hunting. Gus Van Sant directed that. However, I think that there's a more known director that also is a favorite of mine, and it diversifies my films a little bit, and that's going to be Stanley Kubrick. I'm going to take Kubrick here.
Okay. So
give me the
Gus
Shining and all that.
Your honorable mention, essentially.
Yes, yeah. Use more of an honorable mention. But do you want to remind the people who is on your team?
Okay. So I mean, I would love to have Good Will Hunting in mind, but I mean, I'll be honest. Most people, when they think Good Will Hunting, they're thinking of Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, not the director.
Right.
But my team is Fincher. No, in order. I have Tarantino, Fincher, Tim Burton, James Cameron, and who was my last pick? Who was my last pick, James?
Just a little known person named Steven Spielberg.
Oh yeah, fuck that guy.
You picked him. What do you mean? You drafted him.
No, we love Spielberg. He's a friend of the podcast.
Yeah, friend of the show.
And what's yours?
One day at least. Mine is Christopher Nolan, Scorsese. I'm trying to remember the order of which I picked them. Jordan Peele, Kubrick. I skipped one. Who did I skip? Who did I take? Oh, Damien Chazelle. That's who. That was the fifth one. Damien Chazelle. So in order. In order, no. In the right order, it was Christopher Nolan, Martin Scorsese, Damien Chazelle. Then I chose Jordan Peele, and then my last pick was Stanley Kubrick. So that was my draft. Let us know in the comments who won the draft and why it was me. So just let us know what that might be like. Please respond to the poll on Spotify if you're over there, and on YouTube, drop a comment. Derrick, my friend, that is the end of our show. I want to thank you again so much for coming on. You've been an absolute delight.
I appreciate it. I'm more than happy to be here. I mean, I'll be
back,
honest.
my friend.
It's okay if they don't comment my name because they don't have to see me every week. So,
you know what? I can't even fault you for that. That's actually valid.
But
that being said, yeah.
If for all those real Derrick fanatics who will tell the truth and vote for me, then I will do nothing. But I'll appreciate it.
And there you have it. And with that being said, we're going to go and head on over to our outro. Thank you all for tuning into this episode of the Cinema Spotlight. I want to give another huge thanks to Derrick for joining me for this episode. Be sure to give him some love on his socials, linked in the description. He's got some awesome photography stuff. Definitely go check that out and give him some love. Please leave a like on the video if you enjoyed, and if you could, take a moment to subscribe to the show on whichever platform you're listening on. I would greatly appreciate it. be sure to follow our official Instagram at @the_cinema_spotlight for updates on when new episodes get released. I'll go ahead and shut the spotlight off for now. Until next time, stay classy, friends.